Thanks. Good morning, everybody, and thanks for calling in, taking the time today. The reason we put together this call is we wanted to announce that we're going to be adding two new championship divisions, the bantamweight at 135 and featherweight at 145 pounds. So the way that this is going to work is the two new divisions right now feature Jose Aldo, who will now automatically be recognized as the UFC featherweight champion, and WEC bantamweight champion Dominic Cruz is actually fighting November 11th. And should he win that fight, then he'll be recognized as the UFC champion. December 16th? December 16th. Not November 11th, December 16th. And should he win that fight, he'll be the UFC champion. So from here on out, bantamweight and featherweight is now part of the UFC. And on the call also is Jamie Davis from Versus. We're also announcing that we're doing a new deal with Versus. We're going to do 4 fights in 2011.
Hi, Dana. My first question has to do, how does this affect the WEC? Where does it fit in now?
Yeah, there is no more WC. Those weight classes are going to roll into the UFC now. All the employees that work for the WC will stay with the UFC, though.
Okay, great. Okay, I'll let someone else get on. Thanks.
Thank you.
We'll go next to Neil Davidson with the Canadian Press.
Why this move is being made now? Was there something to do with the WEC, or what prompted you to make this move?
It's time. You know, as we continue to grow globally, and now we're going into these new markets like China, India, Mexico. You know, it's time to, you know, we're doing enough fights, et cetera, to fold this thing into the UFC.
Was this always in the cards when you purchased the WEC?
Well, what's always been in the cards is to continue to grow this sport, you know, and add every weight class, not just, you know, 135 and 145.
And is it just because you are, if I can just make sure I'm understanding you correctly, because the demand is so great now for your brand, you need to have a bigger brand under the one?
Well, the reality is, you know, all of these weight classes should be in the UFC. You know, there was a time early on when we first bought this thing where 155 didn't even exist. And now as we continue to grow, and we're doing more fights every year, and we're going into these different markets, we can continue to add weight classes, and that's always been our goal. Our goal is to build this sport worldwide and continue to add weight divisions until we have every single weight division in the UFC. And now is the time.
And a quick follow-up, what happens to the Ben Henderson's title?
Yeah. Ben Henderson now, the winner of his next fight will automatically face the winner of Frankie Edgar and Gray Maynard.
Okay. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
We'll go next to Dave Meltzer with Yahoo Sports.
How long? I mean, is there kind of what kind of time frame was it when you kind of made this decision, and how of the WEC roster right now?
We'll be bringing more guys in too.
So basically, that would so you're going to be starting to filter them in. Would it be in the January show, February show, where you would start seeing 135 and 145s in?
Yes, yeah. When's the January 1st?
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
January 1st, Jose Aldo will defend his title.
Oh, really? Against Grisbeer Hominick or somebody, or is that still?
No, yeah, we're still working on that.
Yeah. And I'm trying to think what else. Do you have an idea of when Cruz is going to defend his title first, or the winner of the Cruz fight?
No, we don't know yet.
And as far as they'll and then those championships will start being defended as main events and semi-main events on UFC shows then, right?
Yeah, main and co-main events. Yep.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, and I think, you know, one of the things is, as like I said, as we grow and go into these new countries, China, you know, Mexico's heating up for us. I think you see a lot of talent coming into those lighter-weight divisions. It's going to get exciting.
Now,
Like it wasn't exciting already, but it's going to get even more exciting.
Okay, now because in a sense you had, I think, what, nine or 10 WEC shows this year. Does that mean that you're going to start adding more, like maybe 5 or 6 new UFC events next year, as far as number of shows?
It's possible.
Okay.
As we go into these new markets, there's the more and more demand, then yes, we definitely need to.
Now you were you did the interview with Business and Cable, or Broadcasting and Cable, and kind of there was talk about a television deal and things like that. I mean, do you expect a new television deal and adding some shows with that at some point later? Later in 2011.
We just did. I just announced that we just did. But
the Versus is taking the place of the old Versus. It's the WC had the Versus deal. I mean,
well, we didn't have 4 fights. We did 2. We're doing 4 fights with them now next year.
Right.
But as far as other television deals, yeah, I mean, we're going out there and doing television deals every day all over the world. As far as the United States here, I mean, a lot of the questions he was asking me these questions, and what about a UFC? UFC channel would be great. There's this open slot on Fox at 5 o'clock. Yeah, I get it. There's this, there's that. He was, all the stuff he was saying makes sense. I never said exactly what we were doing, but yeah, everything he said makes sense.
Okay.
And you guys know it. When we're in this, we can't really talk about this kind of stuff.
Oh, Dana, hello, Dana. I think part of my question was just answered. I was basically going to ask about having more free TV under the UFC brand, and it sounds like you'll have that. And one thing I wondered was it a little bit frustrating that the WEC shows, even though all of us who cover WEC always rave about the action on them, weren't drawing the ratings you might have liked to have seen.
I don't think if you ask Versus, I think Versus was very happy with the ratings that they pulled with that. But is the UFC going to pull bigger ratings? Absolutely.
Hey Dana, congratulations on the merger. Most of my questions have been answered, but one curious one that I have is now that you've added 2 weight classes, that's a total of 7 champions. How important is that for fans that want to order the pay-per-views? Because you can pretty much guarantee there's going to be a champion, defending his title in every UFC pay-per-view now.
Oh yeah, no, it's awesome. I mean, it's always been our goal is to have, like I said earlier, every weight class. Like they had 125 pounds there too. So we're getting there.
Yeah, that was my next question. When do you think you'll be adding the 125-pound weight class?
No clue.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll go next to Dave Dearbat with Post Media News.
Hi, Dana. Just wondering who you think could potentially be the biggest draws for you guys coming over from WEC. I mean, Uriah has obviously been the face of the company there, but who else do you imagine could come in and instantly become a bit of a, I don't know, sensation's the right word, but draw some...
Who knows? Any of them could. It'll be interesting to see when some of these matchups happen. But Jose Aldo has this kid could be a huge star. He's a kid who can dominate at that weight class and could probably move up to 155 and challenge the guys there. Who knows? Anything can happen. The thing is, what's really exciting about, obviously for us is to add a couple more weight classes as we continue to grow the sport. But what's exciting for these lighter weight guys, they're finally on the biggest stage in the world now. And when people get a lot of people haven't seen how exciting these fights are. And when they see Jose Aldo and Dominic Cruz and some of these other guys, Uriah Faber, etc., I think the fans are going to be happy that we moved them up into the UFC.
Okay. You know what? I think that's good. Everything else has been answered so far. Thanks, Dana.
Thank you.